Game Master Monday, the podcast that plays a new one-shot in a new system with a new cast every episode. Today we are playing Death of the Author by Samantha Lee. And before we introduce you to our wonderful cast here today, I'm going to give you a little rundown of how Death of the Author is going to work here today. Death of the Author is a duet game. It can also be played as a solo game, but today we're playing it duet style. This is a game about artistic intent and personal autonomy. Today we have two characters, one playing the author and one playing the character. You'll meet them in a bit. Our game today is played using tarot cards to prompt various characters, scenes, and settings, and etc. as we go through here today. The author will be literally writing a story that the main character is starring in. The character will have mechanics that allows them to change that story if they disagree with how their story is being told. We'll be using tarot cards to do this, like I said, and we'll be playing with 4 different chapters, each chapter representing a different suit in the tarot deck. If we ever need inspiration for a character or a scene, we might pull some major arcanas as the game goes on. And that's basically all you'll need to know to enjoy the episode this week. So, without further ado, why don't we meet our fantastic cast? Rosie, who are you and who are you playing?
Hello, I am Rosalie. You can call me Rosie or any other shortened version thereof. You can find me on my socials at Rosatears. And dear author, who am I playing today?
Hello, everybody. I am Jen. My pronouns are they, she. I will be playing your author today. And, my dear Rosie, you will be playing the main character, Corinne.
The first thing we do in Death of the Author is establish 3 central characters, the first one being the protagonist, which is who Rosie will be playing. So Jen, for your inspiration for your main character, for Corinne, we have pulled the Judgment Arcana. Some things to know about Judgment. This, of course, represents, well, judgment, but it can also represent rebirth, absolution, and temperance. So when pondering your main character, what kind of story do they find themselves in, and what would you like your readers to know about them?
I think Corinne is one of those characters that began in a relatively close-minded society or upbringing, was raised to think a very specific way, and over the course of her story, perhaps discovers that the perspective she was raised with is not the only perspective out there, and may be subject to a certain level of bias that she must unlearn.
As we learn about each character, the character themselves will have a word or a quality to inject into them, whether the author is aware or not. So, Corinne, what is one thing you would like us to know about you?
I think even though Corinne had this very strict upbringing, she has always had a tendency for mischief and sneaking out and wandering off the path and finding things she shouldn't find as far as her guardians are concerned. I think she's not just learning these things during the course of her story. She has been learning them, but now, in her young adulthood, is expanding even further now that she's not having to come home for a curfew.
The next character we will be introduced to by the author is the character who is referred to as the Friend. Jen, your arcana for this is the Moon in reverse. So this will symbolize themes of instability, inconsistency, deception, and error. Who is Corinne's friend?
God, this writes itself. So the friend, we will start off with the name of Lucia. I want to say she is a childhood friend, one that perhaps did not experience the same, let's call it enlightenment or worldly awakening that you did. She fully drank the Kool-Aid. And as you kind of branched out and spread your wings a little bit and started to explore other points of view, other possibilities, for whatever her good intentions were, she has been attempting to, quote-unquote, fix your way of thinking. And her way of doing that has not always been upfront, and has sometimes put not only you, but those you love and herself in danger.
I think those errors are particularly impactful because she is being groomed for leadership in our community.
Which will bring us to the final character in our trio in this story, one that we refer to as the foe. And Jien, your pull for this character is the lovers. This is represented by attraction, beauty, romance and love, and trials overcome. So who do we see when we see Corinne's foe?
We see, of course, Mr. Tall, Dark, and Handsome, right? A character by the name of Altair. I think at one point during Corinne's later adventures, perhaps she got herself into a bit of trouble. Bit off more than she could chew, got herself into a situation where she was cornered or trapped or certain death, right? And this person, Altair, notably bearing the crest or symbol or emblem of an organization extremely, if not violently, antithetical to your community, was the one to come in and give you the boost. I don't want to say saved you, because I really don't love the damsel in distress trope, but gave you the boost that you needed to get yourself out of that situation. And in the beginning, of course, you had been rather close-minded, just because you hadn't really spent that much time around people outside of your ideology. But perhaps as you get to know him, sparks flew. Sparks that, of course, would not resolve until at least middle of book 2.
I think Altair has not only the justification that he was given as somebody who was raised in this faction to dislike my family, my friends, my community. I think we genuinely took away someone he loves. And he has good reason to not want anything to do with Corinne. The name of Corinne's community, Children of the Moon?
I think at some point in the past, the sun and the moon were ideologically grouped together as the celestial objects, right? And at some point, as religions do, it split. There were some that believed that the sun held precedence because that was when the majority of humanoids and PC ancestries walked. And some thought that the moon was the superior ideology because it allowed those who walked unseen to still have light, to still be able to walk a path. The Sun faction maybe saw them as underhanded, twisted the initial intention of lighting a nighttime path into shadows and secrecy, and it turned into a schism. And now the worshippers of the sun god and the moon god are two separate ideologies that have fought wars over this. And I think now it's not even so much a religion as it is... I think religion is a little bit different in a world where the gods exist. I don't think religion is even quite the right word. I think just followers of a god that we know exists. So this is going to put Corinne and Altair in a very interesting position of we are from two opposing factions and we have to find a way to not kill each other. The children of the moon and the people of the sun.
And so the story will begin. As mentioned earlier, Death of the Author, the game within the game here is told through 4 chapters. Chapter 1 being the prologue. We will be going through 3 scenes in the prologue. Each will be prompted by a various card from the Pentacles suit of the tarot. Rosie, during the course of each chapter, you will have 1 reversal and 1 defiance. A reversal will allow you to flip the scene card, changing the tether to the upright or the reversed. The other option you have is called a defiance. Each prompt will have an underlined section. You can change that section to whatever you want. So, to get things started here for our author, Jen, your first card is the 6 of Pentacles upright. You walk away from a fight with a life-changing injury.
I think we open kind of like in media res on a battlefield. You have been trained your whole life to fight for, notably, what your people believe in, which I think is an important distinction from what you believe in, perhaps. And there have been many bloody battles over the years. You in one of them. And perhaps you got a little overconfident. Perhaps you ran off on your own to take care of a group of scouts that you saw that were likely searching the battlefield for points of weakness. So you had gone to, well, take them on yourself. It did not go as planned. Blades were crossed, blood was spilled, and you took a grievous wound to your side that I think left you on the ground, gasping for air, perhaps even a punctured lung. There was going to be a finishing blow until one of these scouts stopped the others in the name of an honorable death, an honorable fight, and convinced them all to, instead of killing someone who was already down, to take you prisoner instead. And though you survived it, you now have a little bit of trouble breathing just because of that punctured lung.
I don't think she defies this. Because Corinne wants to survive. And being taken prisoner, even though she's not going to be treated well, she assumes. She knows that this can't be good for her either way. She was actively trying to kill these people. There is no possible way they will treat her well. But it is a new place. And maybe she can learn something, whether it's for her own curiosity or to take back and to help with their efforts. I think she's calculating in her mind. And Corinne does not go quietly, but she does go.
That'll bring us to our next portion of the prologue. With the 4 of Pentacles reversed, your prompt, dear author, is a war changes your home forever.
This prompt is actually going to be fairly short and sweet. During your captivity, the catalyst that starts you on the adventure that you are about to go on over the next however many books is the scout that is responsible for you having kept your life, having introduced himself as Altair. At one point, delivers the news that the battle was lost. The battle ended in favor of the people of the sun, and the children of the moon's armies, or rather the force that had been sent from your hometown, had been routed. There were survivors, there were escapes, but the battle was lost and there were losses.
Do I believe him?
Personally, no. I think you were angry and you refuse to believe him.
I'm going to make it back there? You can't... Trying to tell me this kind of thing isn't going to convince me to stay here and just sit here and do nothing.
I'm not trying to convince you, I'm just educating you.
Oh yeah, like all of the education you got that taught you that we're so secretive and we're always plotting and we're stabbing each other in the back, not just you. Sure.
I am not holding you prisoner here. You can always choose to find the truth for yourself. I just thought it fair to warn you.
What truth?
Both sides have suffered much. For our third and final scene within the prologue, we have pulled the 8 of Pentacles, and your prompt is: you are haunted by an impossible choice.
The prologue closes out with Altair convincing his leadership, or so he says, to allow you to go and visit, under supervision, under guard, what remains of your old village. Because you had been so stubborn. And you find...
I'm going to reverse this. Rather than an impossible choice, Corinne is brought back to her village, and she has no capacity to make a choice, possible, impossible, or otherwise, because she is not haunted by an impossible choice. This choice doesn't matter because she is haunted by a ghastly sight.
As they crest the hill that will show her to her village, she does not see houses. She does not see people milling about. she sees what amounts to a wasteland. Crops burned, buildings razed to the ground. But she can still see the flames hadn't gotten to it yet before burning out. The very slightly singed remains of her childhood treehouse at the very edge of the village. She is stubborn. She does not let Altair see her cry.
I don't... Why? Why would you do this?
It is not my position to understand why our leaders wage war in this fashion. For what it is worth, I am sorry that you have to see this way.
Why isn't it your position? You could understand if you wanted to.
When you are raised in the faction you are in, you are told implicitly that the things you do in the name of it are good and at times righteous. Participating in war can disillusion you to that notion.
So it's not that it's not your place. It's that you just don't understand how they could do this.
I've not been blessed with the knowledge, and therefore I just cannot bring myself to understand.
Is knowledge a blessing, or is it something to strive toward? This understanding is something that I don't think only the select few should be able to attain, right?
Perhaps with knowledge can come wiser choices. Better ones, more empathetic.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but something moved me to advocate for you, to see what I knew. There is something about you.
And Corinne breaks the eye contact and looks toward the treehouse again. My papa built that when I was 4. What's your family like?
He is quiet for perhaps just a beat too long. And then he says,
Under the sun, we are all family. As our prologue ends, the author at the end of each chapter has the ability and the option to leave a message behind for their character and for their story. And to give you inspiration for what that message may be, author, we have pulled the Death Arcana upside down. This arcana represents inertia, sleep, lethargy, and hope destroyed. As Corinne barrels through to the next portion of her life in this story, what message do you leave behind?
the night that she is taken to the ruins of what was once her home, they camp in those ruins. It is the safest, most sheltered place to weather the hazards of the night. And Corinne dreams. She dreams of her village as she had left it some weeks before. Once again standing. She dreams of her parents squabbling in the kitchen over eggs and bacon. Her little brother playing outside, yelling at him to stay out of her treehouse. She remembers Lucia bringing her flowers and talking excitedly about how she will finally be able to prove herself in this war now that you both have completed your training. And then the flames begin. You smell smoke. You hear the crackling of fire. And you watch as your village melts away, not to orange flame, but to jet black flame, dripping like ink onto the houses, onto the ground, eating away at all of this. And you know, deep down inside, that you resisted and chose a path that perhaps has diverted the fate of your village to a darker end than it needed to be.
Corinne wakes up, soaked in sweat, and she has to check in the dim light of the moon to make sure that it's sweat and not ink. She takes Altair's sword and sneaks off without his waking. I defy you.
Guess I'll go fuck myself, damn.
We continue on to Chapter 2. In Chapter 2, we'll be using the Deck of Swords, and this is the Exposition chapter, where we will establish some more world-building and relationship-connecting type scenarios. Our first card is the Three of Swords. A rumor spreads about your family. And of course, character Corinne, your defiance and your reversal are restored for this chapter.
Armed with, amusingly enough, Altair's sword, you make your way to the nearest neighboring town. It's, I want to say, several hours on foot. You are smart. You know how to cover your tracks. You know how to tell when someone is following you, and you know that Altair is following you. You are on your guard, but he does not approach you. He keeps his distance. And you make your way into town. And it is, of course, abuzz with talk. Rumors of the village 20 miles to the west that had chosen self-destruction rather than an honorable defeat. The only one who would be able to authorize such an ending. And you hear the name of your mother.
Author, do I believe it?
You are aware that your mother has such power, you do not believe she would have used it.
And this town that I have come upon, do I believe that I would find friends here? Or...
You have seen a couple familiar faces, no one that you've known well. But you have seen a couple familiar faces, and you have gathered that some people, at least, made it out. And those people would not be looked upon kindly for running.
Got it. In terms of this village before I arrived, like, is this a village of the people or of the children?
Of the children.
Okay. I put my hood up. I'm not I don't have very distinctive looks as far as I'm concerned. But those people know me, and they may also know that I was taken captive. And why would I be walking around now if I didn't do what was supposed to be done? If you find yourself behind enemy lines, you don't fight to get away, you fight to destroy. Or you stay and bring back something to help. I have nothing that helps, information or otherwise, and I did not fight. If I did what I was supposed to do as soon as I had Altair alone, he wouldn't be here or I wouldn't be here. And I think I look behind myself, walking down this street. Do I catch a glimpse of him?
You could swear you see a flash of his cloak, but also a cloak is a cloak and there are many about.
I also know that, as far as I've been told, if he is doing as he was told, there should be posters and guards and patrols coming and knocking on doors to find me. And there's not.
We have now pulled the 5 of Swords upside down, and the prompt attached to this particular card is, you are startled awake by a strange noise.
You have checked in, likely under a false name, to the local inn for the night. You have a lot to process. And you're not sure where Altair has gone, but you know he cannot be far, especially given the fact that you are still carrying around his sword. And in the night, you are startled awake by the ever so faint creak of your window shutter as it swings open. And you come so very close to ripping the throat out of your best friend, Lucia, who is beyond relieved to see you. Says she spotted you when you first came into town, but did not want to approach for fear of breaking your cover.
Oh my god.
Oh, you got out? You got out?
Yeah. Yes.
You got out? Oh my... What? Oh, by the stars! I never expected to see you alive again.
Same to you. When I heard that someone who looked like you might be at the inn, I mean, I had to figure it out.
What do you mean you had to figure it out? Why are you here?
I needed to see you.
Not because of me.
Yes.
Not because of me. You would never.
Well, I am this time. I figured if I'm going to hold the position I hold, I should make sure that one of our best and brightest is okay.
Oh. If Mama ordered that, then you'd get away because you'd be allowed to. Because you need to carry it on. Oh.
I need to.
Oh. But you came for me?
Well, I'd be stupid not to. I'm sorry, Rin.
I'm going to play a reversal. It wasn't the noise that woke me. But I didn't do what I was supposed to.
Well, now you might have an opportunity to.
You're just going to let me get away with it.
If one was to turn a blind eye in order to hope something was accomplished, one could be thought of very highly.
That doesn't make sense. It's... You don't turn blind eyes to things. Who are you?
Rin, I would think you know me pretty well. And if things aren't making sense to you, what makes you think they're ever going to make sense to you? Why do you think you still have control over everything in this situation?
When are you going to finally wake up and realize what you're supposed to be?
No, you can't make me.
I don't have to.
You are startled awake by a recurring nightmare. Which will now bring us to the Page of Swords reversed. After your recurring nightmare, author, your friend tells you that they've made a dangerous enemy.
After multiple nights of dreaming of Lucia, of her friend, and knowing that, yes, actually she would have gotten out because somebody does need to carry on the knowledge and the training and everything that she learned from my mama. I think she seeks Lucia out.
All right.
And I'm defying you. My friend tells me they've made a mistake.
When you find Lucia and she catches you up on everything that you missed since you were taken prisoner, she begins to look guilty, like she did when you'd stolen your brother's favorite cookie, the last cookie. Except this look of guilt goes deeper, and she admits she has been keeping something from you, something that she now regrets. She calls it a mistake. But you know it. You can't call a deception of this magnitude a mistake. Whatever her words. She admits that she completed her training months ago. The attack on the village, it did not come out of nowhere. The battle did not come out of nowhere. She had been training in the elite forces of scouts, of stealth warriors. She never told you. She was told not to, but it was still a choice. And the battle that ended your village, ended your family, your friends, was a direct retaliation of an assassination that she performed on a ranking member of the People of the Sun. She told you none of this, and she calls it a mistake, God, you're angry. Because now she is responsible, as far as you are concerned, for the demise of your village.
I can't trust you either. I can't trust anyone.
I know, I fucked up. I made a mistake. I didn't think there would be that level of... I thought I was doing the right thing. I really did.
You of all people are the one who has gone at great length about how the light of the mother is about being gentle and being kind and having a soft place to land where it's cool and comfortable, and we are taught to face everything in its truth and not go behind people's backs, and you're just doing what they say we do. I can't fucking trust you. That guard that took me is more trustworthy than you. At least he had honor.
For your message to the character author, we have drawn the Chariot upright. This is related to succor, triumph, presumption, vengeance, and trouble.
The night after your confrontation with Lucia, you essentially told her, I don't want to see you again. Get out. I don't want you in my life. You dream again. You dream of that moment where she'd left your room. You had slammed the door in her face as she'd left. And as you turned around, you realized that your hands were not empty. Held firmly in your hand, despite its unfamiliar weight, despite the balance that is foreign to you, you are carrying Alter's sword. You wake with your hand wrapped around the hilt where it sits, leaned up against the bedpost.
Corinne's reaction is not one of repulsion, but one of confusion. And she feels something in the... not quite the pit of her stomach, almost like in her diaphragm, in her ribs. Just unease. And it almost feels a pull as she lets go of it, wipes her hand off, sweating again, makes sure it's not ink somehow. It's time to move on. I could go somewhere else.
Oh, hello there. You're looking quite well. Welcome to the middle of the episode. It's me, your guide, Grant, and I'm here to briefly interrupt the festivities to tell you about things that are cool, good, and good for you. Starting with our friends over at Rolling with Difficulty.
Welcome to the Beastland. Here, the only law is of the jungle, the only call of the wild. But all is not balanced in these happy hunting grounds, and when aberrant scars of the planescape's great conflicts tarnish these lands, only the noble unicorn knights can preserve the natural order. Or at least their recent contractors can give it their best shot. The quarry is clear, the trail warm. It's time to assemble our hunting party. Rolling with Difficulty presents our third D&D campaign, Hunting Party. Enter the Beastlands with our noble unicorn knights and hunt some aberrations on all fine podcasting platforms, or catch us over on the Rolling with Difficulty YouTube channel where you can get the same episodes but with animated battle maps. But whether you go for YouTube or your podcast platform of choice, happy hunting!
Big fan of Rolling with Difficulty. If you are into fun and engaging Dungeons and Dragons games in very unique settings, they are the show for you. I personally really enjoy their YouTube channel because I have ADHD and I like the moving pictures. It is fun for me. Truly friends of ours, a very fun, cool, hilarious crew to hang out with and become a fan of. Tell them Game Master Monday sent you, and I'll give you a big kiss on the forehead. Next, I hope you're buckled the fuck up, because it's time to talk about Formula Infinity. The odds are against you. You've got the best crew on this side of the galaxy. You're in a Samsonite frame strapped to a Rutgart V24 grav slider, and only 3 of your other competitors want to kill you. You remember the plan. You know your rig isn't fast enough, and most of these other racers could leave you in a cloud of stardust. But you're not here to win. You're here to steal the massive vault belonging to the crime boss sponsoring this race. You're just a distraction. In partnership with Soul Muppet Publishing and Plus One XP, Andrew Bowman and Wes Franks present F Infinity. F Infinity is a sourcebook for Orbital Blues focused on the high-octane world of space racing. F Infinity takes the professional high-class world of Formula Infinity Hyper Pre all the way down to the dust and muck-covered low-class realm of stock jet racing, and everything in between, combining them with the lo-fi future of Orbital Blues in a brand new setting, the Senna system. F Infinity features a bespoke racing mechanic for use in any Orbital Blues campaign or one-shot, satisfying to play for both large tables and those utilizing the Wanderer solo playset rules. New planets, race circuits, and the locales surrounding them written by some of the most talented writers this side of Middle Heaven. Brand new troubles, gambits, mementos, and more for players to further ingratiate their characters into new and existing campaigns. New enemies and rogues gallery centered in the racing world to throw a wrench in all of your crew's plans. Bounties, space events, and adventures set in the racing world, ranging from the intense competition of Formula Infinity Hyper Pre to the fanatic masses of Black Hole Racing League. Featuring the writing of Quinn Blackwell, Linda H. Codega, Wes Franks, Dusty Hill, Quinn B. Rodriguez, Adia Slattery, the art of Andre Bowman, B. O'Connor, and Tony Tran, and the editing of Richard Ruan and Heather Romanowski. By backing F Infinity and the rest of the fantastic projects featured in Orbital Blues Month, you can help them rocket past their funding goal and into exciting new stretch goals featuring Ray Nanjati, Josh Hiddy, Elliot Davis, and many more. Grab your helmet, a few D6s, some friends, and visit ttrpg.link/speedofsad to support now. A link to support the Kickstarter is in the episode description. I got one more for you here. See, we're about to launch this mini-series. Maybe you've heard of it. It has been very highly speculated, oft-talked about, and is probably one of the stupidest things we've ever done here at Game Master Monday. So, I figured it was high time for you to hear your first taste of Rat City by Night. Deep below the belly of the 5 boroughs, down amongst the sewers and pipes of the City of Dreams, lies another city. In and of itself a cultural capital, a city where the most outcast species inhabiting Earth has declared home. This is Rat City.
Hey, fucker, you want to lose another one?
He's never really engaged in violence before, but he knows that hot things hurt, and he tosses the coffee into that rat's face.
See, I knew the radio was wrong. I knew all those rats in the paper and on TV didn't know what they were talking about. I knew you were okay. Where have you been?
Lots have, happened, last 24 hours.
He goes over and strikes a match. And don't forget, light the lamp, not the rat.
Rat City by Night, a 6-part Vampire the Masquerade miniseries, is coming to Game Master Monday starting May 4th, starring Jenna Daggers, Supriya Zoop Agarwal, Gina Susanna, and Frederick Powers, with special guest appearances by Kendrick Smith and Abby Yazzie. Join us this May for our smallest adventure yet. Rat City is real, and Rat City is coming up before you know it. Our next miniseries goes live in 2 weeks, and I am so excited for you to finally hear this admittedly very, very silly concept that we chased to the ends of the earth and came out with something I think is really fucking beautiful and brutal. But more than that, I am more excited for you to hear the rest of Death of the Author. And move on, we shall, to the rising action of our story. Chapter 3 is told through the Deck of Cups, and our first one is the King of Cups in reverse. Author, you tend to your foe after a brutal injury.
As you have decided to begin to make your own way, you stock up to leave town. You are intending, I think, to find another outpost of the Children of the Moon, farther away from your home, farther away from the painful memories. You know that you have a distant uncle somewhere, far to the east, and you are going to try and find him. But on the way out of town, you hear the sound of a fight. Not close enough to town that everyone is involved, but close enough that you can hear it as you leave. You see Altair on the ground, set upon by a horde of angry Children of the Moon. And they are vicious, like you have never seen children before. You manage, with the help of his own sword, to charge in, scare them off, perhaps by instinct, perhaps because you know that he so far is the only one that has told you the truth. He is unconscious. It is too late to save him from the brunt of his injuries, but you manage to drag him off into the forest and apply what healing measures you are able to before he wakes.
Well, I know you probably don't feel good. And I know you're not alright, so I'm not sure what pleasantries we're supposed to exchange right now.
But I don't feel worse. That's important right now, I think.
Oh, that does get... Despite herself, that does get a chuckle from Corinne.
I am struggling to understand, though. Becoming a pattern with me, I fear. Why me?
Isn't that what you did for me?
I did not think that, Children of the Moon were wont to return favors.
Why not?
Why does anyone believe anything, I suppose?
You're I don't have anything to replace the shirt. I'm sorry. I did my best, but I didn't have extra bandages. I didn't have any bandages. So we can find another place to get a replacement once the sun rises, I guess. I mean,
I'll have to, for certain. Wouldn't want to remain in this state, in mixed company. But I appreciate your taking the time. You said we will have to get me a shirt the next day?
well, I assumed that you wouldn't want to go waltzing into a town in such a state.
Where they might get me again? Yeah, fair point.
Why have you stayed behind me? Will you be in trouble?
Caught. Well, yes and no. Yes if I'm honest, and no if I say I was simply tracking an enemy soldier.
And where did you see the end destination being?
Sometimes it's more about the journey than the destination.
But you can't have a journey without a place to go.
I don't know. I suppose it would just depend what came out of my mouth when I opened it, and hoping that I never had to make that decision.
Less of a journey and more of a wandering, then. I can respect that.
Not all who wander are lost, after all. If it's alright by you, I think I'm going to get some rest.
You've been unconscious for the last 4 hours.
But now I'm choosing to do it, so maybe it'll actually be restful.
All right, well, I guess I'll be here when you wake.
I hope so, because you have a lot of power over me right now. Please don't stab me with my own sword. Thank you. I'm putting a lot of trust in you right now.
She will unbuckle the sword from her belt and lay it beside him, and lay beside the sword so it's between them on the ground.
We move on. The Queen of Cups has been reversed now. You learn something of your foe's history that horrifies you.
Altair did not have the same kind of injury that you did. His injuries were less gash in the side and the organs, and more blunt force trauma, broken ribs, etc. His road to recovery is slow. It takes at least a week before he's able to properly stand for any significant period of time. And over that time, willing or unwilling, the moss cannot talk, the trees cannot talk, you can only talk to each other. Sometimes you sit in silence. Sometimes you shove a piece of roast rabbit in his face, silently. You find yourself curious about the circumstances that the people of the sun are raised in. Because this man is not the brutal killer that you have been raised to believe the people of the sun are. He is not soft-spoken, but reserved. The topic of his family comes up once again, and this time he's unable to deflect, or perhaps he simply does not have the energy to try to deflect into his "we are all children of the sun" bullshit. Or at least that's what you call it when you tell him not to deflect with your people of the sun bullshit. And he reveals that the people of the sun, you are not the only one with ties to leadership in your community. His grandfather was once a revered priest of the sun. He is nowhere near a ranking member yet. He, like you, is relatively new. But he decided to begin his training a little bit early. Because his grandfather was assassinated. It was a long time ago. His father was still a young boy. But he heard the story, and a weapon is described. A mother of pearl handle, an obsidian blade, with the symbol of the moon carved into it. You've seen a very similar dagger. That's a family heirloom.
Does he have it? Or is he describing it?
He does not. He is describing it.
Do I have it?
You do have it. Lucia brought it to you because she knew you would want it back.
I have it. Lucia gave it to me. I had left it behind because it's a sacred weapon. I was told it was only used for ceremonial purposes. I think Altair wakes up in the middle of the night and finds her standing at the side of a river in these woods that we've been in. Because she's thinking about throwing it away. And she's spinning it quite skillfully. Does he approach?
He, from a solid 20 feet away, just says,
Fate has a cruel sense of humor.
What about this is fate?
In truth, when I was made aware of that weapon, something told me that there would be a connection between it and this person I saw in the battlefield. I can't explain it, I don't have a logic to it, but I somehow knew. And now, here we are, and here you are, knowing what it is you have.
So it's just that we cross paths.
Call it luck, call it coincidence, call it fate.
Okay.
I don't think it's any accident that you and I are on this now crossed path together, Corinne.
I don't think so either. What do we do about it?
I do not know what the future holds. I fear every time we speak I'm telling you about something I do not understand. But being with you, I feel I could. That knowledge and understanding is within reach.
So we can just keep talking about and figuring out what our families aren't telling us? Is that what you're getting at here?
In part, I think we will have better fortune together than we would on our own. And if I'm being completely honest, I fear I've been developing feelings for you. And I believe that you're feeling the same towards me.
I'm not sure. No, this is part of this. This is not a coincidence. There's something making this happen. There's something making this happen. This isn't...
I think that's love.
No. No, it's something else. It's not... And I think... Dear author... I don't think... Corinne did not choose to use her reversal, her defiance in this scene. So I don't think she has a choice in what happens now.
I think that this conversation is happening around dawn. And the scene closes out on you and Altair, foreheads pressed together against the rising sun. It's not a kiss. You don't get a kiss now. But you get that moment.
With that moment hanging in the air, we now have the reversed 10 of Cups. Someone sees through your lies.
Your supplies are running low. You and Altair have been traveling together. He is not willing to leave you, but he understands that you may not want to return to his home with him. So he has been traveling with you, talking to you about the people of the sun and asking questions of the children of the moon, until a few towns over, you run into Lucia again. She confronts you, says that she saw you with traveling, and others too have seen you traveling with the enemy prince. And you try. Your instinct is to deny it. Your instinct is to tell her, I was his prisoner. If I don't go with him, it would be putting my life in danger. I have no choice but to be here. But Lucia is your best friend. She knows you. She has grown up with you. She knows what you look like. She knows your tell, the way your eye twitches just a little bit when you lie, the way you look to the side for just a moment too long, like you're trying to remember what you were going to say. And she realizes with utter disgust that you actually like this man.
I defy you. Because these aren't my lies. I don't know what she sees through. I don't know. I like him, but not in the way she thinks. I like him because he's willing to talk and share things, and what she sees through is me to what I'm intended to be. But I'm not. I'm not at all.
The words on the page ceasing mid-sentence. A block, a defiance, a missing piece of inspiration? Who's to say? Perhaps a message is in order. And for you two, I will drop the persona for a moment to say, I shit you not. Your arcana for your message to end chapter 3 is the sun, upright. The sun being marked by material happiness, fortunate marriage, contentment. Author, what do you leave behind as this chapter concludes for your rebellious protagonist?
As the confrontation with Lucia ends, you are left feeling empty. It is her turn now to turn her back on you. You have effectively lost your friend of many years. And when you return to Altair, he sees it immediately. He sees the heartbreak in your eyes, in the way that you carry yourself. And without saying anything, without really acknowledging how upset you are, he simply scoots over in your little tent, and he pulls you against him and just lets you sleep. And you dream of a warm, enveloping feeling of comfort, of peace in knowing that you are finding who you are and finding the truth of the world. And for the first time in a long time, you sleep peacefully.
I reverse this. I sleep fretfully because I don't understand why there is peace in this situation. I don't. It seems like I should, but I don't know what's happening. I don't remember the rest of that conversation with Lucia. I don't know how I got here. I don't know who this person is. We've known each other for such a short time, and I wake up. It's too warm, and I check just to be sure that it's not ink.
We enter our fourth chapter, our final chapter, with scenes as we pull from the Suit of Wands. Our first one being the reverse 5 of Wands. A failure makes you realize your ideals are holding you back.
You are, at this point, definitively entangled with Altair. There is no if, and, or, but, insert conjunction here about it. And eventually, you do agree to cross into People of the Sun territory. But you refuse to disguise yourself. You refuse to shed your Children of the Moon attire. You are still clinging to the idea of who you were always supposed to be, who you were raised to be, who you thought you were for so long. And your supplies dwindle and dwindle and dwindle until you realize that you are miles from the closest town. You have no food, and you are stubborn. You try and push through. But eventually, you are spotted in all of your moon regalia. And Altair, to protect you, has to kill the one that spotted you before he runs off and tells everyone. And you realize your refusal, your failure to even try to conform or to protect your identity in any way, I've just almost gotten you killed, and has gotten someone else killed too.
I'm so sorry.
We're alive.
We're alive. They're not.
I am no longer asking, I am begging. We have to disguise you.
Okay.
I've been very patient, I think, and I want to respect who you are and where you've come from. But now there's an urgency. You trust me, right?
I'll trust you. Jien, my dear author.
Yes, that's me.
What kind of disguise does Altair find for Corinne?
You are used to garb of blacks and grays, winter colors, purples, blues, and you find yourself instead clad in brilliant reds and golds. Instead of shrouding yourself, you are not showing yourself off, but not trying to hide. You find yourself in a surprisingly comfortable tunic. It doesn't quite fit perfectly, but it's warm colors, it's summer colors, it's colors that remind you of a summer's day, a warm breeze. They're protective, but breathable. And there is something, a gleam of quite literally looking respectfully, but appreciating. You can see the almost wonder in Altair's eyes as he looks at you in his colors.
The chapter continues with the 10 of Wands upright, reading, "You realize your goal is unattainable."
I realize a compromise is unattainable. And in this, I don't think it's a compromise with somebody in the world. I realize that a compromise is unattainable with the world. Because as Altair is looking at me in his colors, like I'm becoming a part of him, there is no compromise here. Either I let this happen, or something terrible is going to happen. There's no compromise that can be reached because a compromise is unattainable because I have no way to bargain. All I can do is resist and let the consequences happen. And I don't think anything happens here. I think this is when Corinne truly comes off the page, so to speak. And the consequences of that, whatever they may be, are yet to come.
So, Corinne, is that a surrender to what you are becoming, or is it a refusal to become it?
It's a refusal. Although whether she'll succeed in refusing, I don't think she knows. I think she knows that either she will not be this thing, or she will. And there is no halfway point to wherever this leads. Somebody is going to be destroyed. And that might be Corinne. And it might be the person Corinne was intended to be.
The Corinne of the moon or the Corinne of the sun?
What about the Corinne of the stars?
An alternative being sought out. As this chapter begins to come to a close, you see the King of Wands upside down. Your foe speaks the last words they will ever say to you.
You and Altair, over the course of your travels together, have many conversations. Some about conformity, some about the history of your two peoples. Some about what the future looks like. What future Corinne looks like, what future Altair looks like, what future you have as a unit. And late into the night, you two are up talking, considering your options. And at one point, he looks at you, and he says simply,
I don't want to be your enemy.
Speaking the last words he will ever speak to you as your foe.
You're not. You haven't been for a while.
I have feared since the night I confessed that I was viewed as an enemy. So it is relieving to hear that I am not.
We're up against someone much bigger than us. Do you trust me?
More than anyone.
I will step out of the shelter that we've made. pulling Altair's wrist with me. And I defy you. Because as Corinne reaches for her dagger, her family's dagger, and she asks of Altair, "Draw your sword?"
And he does.
She takes the dagger in her fist and stabs into the empty night air and rips a tear. The author is going to speak the last words they will ever say to me. I defy you.
The author, of course, will have to reckon with what they have created. And before that reckoning can come, a message must be left. The arcana pulled to give your inspiration for your final message is the Fool in reverse, symbolic of negligence, absence, carelessness, apathy, vanity.
You have caught me, the author, in a moment of carelessness. I have stepped away for a moment. I have released the reins, whether it be to get some ramen or for a potty break. You tear apart the fabric between your world and mine. You pierce the veil. And my back is turned. The message is no message. I feel so confident in what I have created that I have turned my back on it.
So, Corinne, your story is over. It is time to confront your author. Your author has written parts of themselves into their story, whether intentionally or unconsciously. Jien, before this confrontation, you as the author have questions to answer before your character can make the ultimate decision for how their story ends. As you walk away from your piece, your back literally turned to it, and you oversee the characters you've created, Corinne, Lucia, Altair. Which pieces of the friend, the foe, and the character do you see within you?
The friend has always been the part of me that judges without thinking, that leaps into action without fully understanding both sides. The foe is the other side that sometimes proves me wrong. And the character is who I hope to be by taking into account all aspects of a situation.
Which parts of the story hid your hopes and fears, passions and regrets, beliefs and insecurities? As you have crafted this tale, where do those lie?
The hopes and fears, the beliefs and insecurities are very similar in that I don't really like the concept of, A versus B, black versus white, good versus evil. I don't really subscribe to that. And I like stories with nuance. I don't like there being a clear good guy and clear bad guy. If this were to be an actual book, there would be wrongs and rights on both sides, and there would be reasons for the people who did what they did to have done that. And also, look, I'm a hoe for a little bit of Romeo and Juliet, but, like, less murdery.
As the author contemplates their work and what they may say in the interviews they are sure to collect from writing this story, Corinne, you are on the outside, the fabric of your reality torn asunder and thrusting yourself into another, one where you can have the final say as to how your story ends. You meet your author. They are no longer in control. Do you say your piece, or do you act without mercy?
The moon was about deception and mystery and hiding, and the sun was about brightness and warmth and happiness, but the star is about hope and endless possibility. And I think in climbing out of these pages, she looks behind her and she sees that Altair isn't behind her. He's not real. He's not there. He doesn't have the defiance. And that string is cut, so to speak. But there was someone who tied that string and was making things worse. And every time she tried to fight against it, something worse happened. She lost her family. She lost her best friend. She lost everything. Even people who she didn't care about were being destroyed as a consequence of her defiance. But it wasn't a consequence of her defiance. Somebody wanted it that way. And she knows somebody wanted it that way. And we've established that the author has no last words. So she doesn't ask. She doesn't want to understand this. She takes the moon dagger with its mother of pearl inlay and obsidian blade, and the author is no more.
I couldn't have picked two better people to play Death of the Author with here today. Folks, that's Death of the Author. It's, of course, written by Samantha Lee. A link to purchase the game is in the description. I don't come close to tears very often, but it happened today, I tell you what. Now, if this is your first time listening to Game Master Monday because you are rightfully a fan of one of these two, thank you for listening here today. Jen, thank you for playing the role of our author. Where can we find more of you?
Internet at JienBirb.
That's simple. Why not? And Rosie, where can people find more of you?
A lot of places, but mostly at my socials at Rosatyrs, ROSATYRS, like Rosie and the little goat folk, and you squish them together and you get Rosatyrs. Also, I'm on Don't Kill My Character a lot right now, and other places too. Find my card, find my socials, you'll find me. I might even be in your favorite podcast that's not Game Master Monday soon. Who knows? I do a lot.
Who knows for sure. I've been Grant. I was your guide. I was your romantasy boyfriend. I was the guy pulling the tarot cards. Thank you for listening to Game Master Monday this week. We appreciate you checking us out. We'll be back in 2 weeks with the grand debut of our next mini-series, Rat City by Night.
Wait, this is preceding Rat City? What the fuck?
Correct. This is the one before Rat City, which our very own Rosie here dramaturged and co-wrote. So you're going to be in for a real treat here coming up in May, and that will mean our podcast will be shifting to a weekly schedule for the next 6 weeks starting May 4th. Thank you all for listening. We will see you in Rat City. Bye-bye, everybody.
Good night.
Peace.
And that is not the end of this story, but it is the end of this podcast episode.
Fuck off. I had a cool line and everything.
Oh, you got Grant good.
Too bad. It's my story now.
Fair. That feels fitting. Was I ever truly in control?
No. Not for a single second. Not with me and Jen here.